Welcome to Who Yelling Now, Season 5, Episode 10, titled We Call This Progress, copyright Mackenzie. I'm your host, Olga Foreign, and welcome to the season finale. Click subscribe and let's begin. For the past 10 episodes, we have spent our time together examining words we use every day. Love, loyalty, stability, passion, truth, success, education, strength, and accountability. Words we use so often that we rarely stop to ask ourselves what we actually mean when we say them. And today, we arrive at our final word for this season: progress. Unlike many of the words we have explored this season, progress enjoys a remarkable reputation. Few people argue against it. Few organizations reject it. Few politicians campaign against it. Few parents discourage it. Progress is almost universally assumed to be good. But why? If a disease progresses, we worry. If a wildfire progresses, we evacuate. If an avalanche progresses down a mountain, entire villages disappear. If a river progresses beyond its banks, it floods the towns that once celebrated its waters. Progress itself is neither good nor bad. Progress is a movement. Progress is becoming. Progress is changing measures over time. Progress is change measured over time. And perhaps that is where the lie hides. Not in the word itself, but in our assumption that movement automatically means improvement. Today, I want to explore a dangerous question. When we call something progress, what exactly are we measuring? And perhaps more importantly, what is it progressing towards? Let's begin with a poem titled My Progress. My progress was paced perfection. My progress was paced to perfection. No deviations, no distractions, no unnecessary solutions. Every step measured, every outcome anticipated, every milestone celebrated. I revisited my situation often, not to change course, but to admire my consistency. I refined my methods, reviewed my maps, corrected my posture, adjusted my pace. Others wondered. I progressed towards others. Others questioned. I progressed. Others stopped to ask where they were going. I progressed. The path was smooth. The signs were clear. The landscape became beautiful. The air grew crisp. The horizon stretched endlessly before me. I remember smiling. After all, everything was going according to plan. Then I arrived, took one final step, and experienced the magnificent efficiency of falling off a cliff. The descent was flawless. My progress remained uninterrupted. My dearest listeners, how many things in our lives do we call progress simply because they continue? A career can continue. A habit can continue. A relationship can continue. A lie can continue. Continuation and improvements are not the same thing. Sometimes we mistake motion for success. Sometimes we mistake repetition for wisdom. And sometimes we discover that what has been progressing all along was something we should have stopped long ago. Here is a story I call The Running Lie. Picture it. Johnny, a boy just entering his teenagehood, growing up in the kind of neighborhood people describe as safe. Not safe because crime didn't exist. Safe because the residents believed it didn't. Wide streets, manicured lawns, polite neighbors, perfectly trimmed hedges, stone mailboxes, motion lights, 2 garages. The kind of community where people forget to lock doors and consider it a personality trait instead of a risk. The kind of place where danger was always reported from somewhere else. Never here. Never on the street. Never to these people. Johnny's father was successful, not extravagantly wealthy, comfortably wealthy. The type of man who had spent years building a life stable enough that trust became routine. Trust in neighbors, trust in systems, trust in his son, wife, family, especially trust in his son. Like every human, we lie. Small one, of no consequences. Or so we think. Some lies are good, some are small, some make our daily lives convenient. And Johnny, just like us, did the same. He had probably told the same small lies dozens of times, maybe hundreds. Not because he was dishonest, because he was human. Did you wash your hands? Yeah. He hadn't. Nothing happened. Did you turn the light off in your room? Yup. He hadn't. Nothing happened. Did you water your plant in your room? Yup. He forgot. Nothing happened. Did you lock the back door? Yeah. He wasn't sure if he did or not. Nothing happened. The first time, or the second time, or the 10th time. That's the problem with progression. It teaches confidence through repetition. Every time Johnny told a small lie and escaped consequence, the lie progressed. Not outwardly, internally. The progression wasn't in the words, it was in the certainty, the comfort, the belief that tomorrow would behave like yesterday. On the 9th of the 17th of December 2023, Johnny's father stood in the kitchen. The house was winding down. Everyone was preparing for bed. Television humming softly, dishwasher running, a dog asleep somewhere in the living room. The kind of ordinary evening so common it becomes invisible. His father looked up. "Johnny, did you lock the back door?" Johnny had just come in from an evening at the movies with his friends. He was tired, already halfway up the stairs, already thinking about his warm bed. Sleep is important to a growing boy. He was done with this day. For a moment, he hesitated. A second, maybe less. Then he answered, "Yeah." His father nodded. Not because he verified it, not because he checked, because he trusted him. The same trust built over thousands of ordinary moments, thousands of successful repetition, thousands of days progressing exactly as expected. And that's what makes the story hurt. The lie wasn't evil. The lie wasn't dramatic. The lie wasn't even unusual. It was one snowflake, one drop of water, 1 degree, one step. The tragedy wasn't the lie. The tragedy was that after it left Johnny's mouth, it continued progressing without his permission. Hours later, uninvited villains found an unlocked door. Hours later, a choice became an opportunity. Hours later, opportunity became intrusion. Hours later, intrusion became violence. Hours later, death entered Johnny's family. Days later, death returned. A week later, funerals became a part of Johnny's family. A week later, funerals became part of Johnny's family. Months later, therapy became part of Johnny's life. Months later, therapy became part of Johnny's life. Years later, guilt remained a permanent residence. A decade later, Johnny would still be replaying a moment that lasted less than a second. Did you lock the back door? Yep. He lied, not because he intended harm, because it was easy. He, like most of us, do not understand how progress can move a lie. The progression of his lie had long since outrun his ability to stop it. Make no mistake, this story is not about a lie. We judge actions by what they are when they begin. Life judges them by what they become. Progress carries consequences, good, bad, or indifferent. A snowflake is harmless until it isn't. A drop of water is harmless until it isn't. A degree is harmless until it isn't. A lie is harmless until it progresses into something larger than the person who created it. And perhaps that is why we fear lies. Not because of what they are, but because of what they may become. Here is a poem to help you understand progress. I call it Drip, Drip, Drop. Drip, drip, drop. Why should I stop? Impeding my progress will empty the sea. I must continue, for becoming is me. Drip, drip, drop. One drop is small, 1,000 together are scarcely seen at all. Yet I shall gather and gather anew until I become something larger than you. Drip, drip, drop. I nourish the land. I carve through the mountains. I shape what you plan. You praise me as life when your gardens need drink, yet curse my progression when I challenge your brink. Drip, drip, drop. I widen the stream. I followed the course of my watery dream. The brooks became rivers. The rivers grew free. The river became what it always would be. Drip, drip, drop. Then wave became wave. The shore that once loved me grew fearful and brave. The village looked outward and asked, how could this be? As though they had never encouraged the sea. Drip, drip, drop. One drop at a time. The catastrophe started long before the crime. For progress is progress, whether welcome or not. And the ocean remembers every drop. My fellow listeners, throughout this episode, we have followed 3 very different journeys. A man who progressed perfectly towards a cliff. A lie that progressed beyond the control of the person who told it. A drop of water progressing towards the sea. 3 examples, 3 outcomes, 1 lesson. The danger was never the movement. The danger was assuming the destination. A single snowflake rarely concerns us. A single drop of water seems harmless. A single degree on a summer afternoon feels insignificant. A single lie appears manageable. A single step feels small. Yet life has a remarkable way of reminding us that consequences often arrive through progression. Not all at once, not dramatically, not loudly, but gradually, patiently, 1 step, 1 degree, 1 drop, 1 choice. Until suddenly, we find ourselves standing somewhere we never intended to be. Perhaps progress is not measured by how fast we move, nor by how far we traveled. Perhaps progress is not measured by movement at all. Perhaps progress is measured by the destination. This season, we have asked, what are we calling love? What are we calling loyalty? What are we calling stability? What are we calling passion? What are we calling truth? What are we calling success? What are we calling education? What are we calling strength? What are we calling accountability? And today, what are we calling progress? Maybe the answer is simpler than we think. Maybe before celebrating movement, we should first understand direction. We celebrate each birthday. 1 birthday, 2 birthday, my 25th birthday. We are progressing towards death. Think about it. Thank you for joining me for season 5 of Who Yelling Now. I am Olga Foreign. Until next season, choose your words carefully. You may be progressing towards them.